Welcome back. The city of Pekin has taken a shot at opioid manufacturers, blaming them for what it says is their role in the growing opioid epidemic. Now, joining me now is ALFRED Murray II, an attorney representing the city. ALFRED, Pekin joins 10 other cities in the lawsuit against manufacturers, distributors, and prescribers. Why are you blaming them for the recent health crisis, and is that fair?
We believe that we can show that these three groups of defendants, and collectively the defendants, engaged in a concerted effort to inundate and overprescribe opioids for, in many cases, treatment that was not needed or treatment that should have been on a different course. We have evidence that we've cited in our lawsuit related to a years-long campaign to increase opioid sales by misrepresenting their risks and benefits, as well as studies conducted by groups funded by these actors, by the defendants, whether it be the manufacturers or the distributors, to purportedly minimize the risks and benefits. And we believe that we can show that those were known to be false and known to be misrepresentations at the time they were made. So to the second question, which is this fair? The effects of opioid addiction are long-lasting. It's not one of those things where, the easy example, you break an ankle, you go to the doctor, you get a cast, possibly, you heal up in a few weeks, and hopefully you're all better. Opioid addiction is a different type of problem, and it has taken it's caused or taken a substantial toll on municipalities, both in terms of personnel, lost personnel, man hours, additional resources, additional training, and at the end of the day, money.
Why single out these particular groups in the lawsuit and not all doctors or stores that allowed them to be distributed?
The term, bad actor in this case really should be applied to the folks that we've named as defendants in this lawsuit. Again, there was a concerted and so we allege, and we believe we can prove, a coordinated effort between the manufacturers and the distributors to push forward junk science, assert misleading claims about, again, the risks and benefits of opioids, using deceptive marketing to change the opinion of doctors who ultimately prescribe these to patients. We don't feel the doctors who received this information and reasonably relied upon it are the bad actors, should be the ones that are held accountable. Rather, we think that the true crux of the problem lies with the manufacturers and the distributors that we've identified.
ALFRED, the city of Pekin is the only municipality in this lawsuit that is not in the Chicago area. And from your vantage point, how does Pekin play into this conversation?
The opioid epidemic knows no bounds. It doesn't have a geographic epicenter. It doesn't have a socioeconomic, or other category we could, box the issue into. So from our standpoint, Pekin is no different than any other municipality that's in Cook County or in and around Chicagoland. And we hope that by seeing the example Pekin is setting and leading, that other municipalities nearby will join forces to increase the footprint that all of our collective Illinois municipalities have in this fight.
And what are you asking for out of this lawsuit? What would be the best case scenario in terms of the opioid epidemic?
That's a great question. We've been asked in the past, what's the expected recovery? We think we can prove that the opioid epidemic was caused by big pharmaceutical companies and their closely related distributors, and we look forward to proving those claims in court. And leaving it up to a jury's decision as to a specific dollar amount. Some of the needed outcome here will be money to put towards resources, whether that's first responders resources, recouping costs incurred by the self-insured municipalities that they should not have had to pay, as well as treatment centers and professionals to staff those treatment centers.
Well, Alfred, thanks again for joining me and talking about this case. Again, that's Alfred Murray II, one of the attorneys representing the city of Pekin and other cities suing manufacturers, distributors, and prescribers of opioids. And for those of you who want to hear more, we'll have more of that conversation and why he thinks it's an historic lawsuit later on the website.